It is. Where's the ring? Let's see the
Oh,
ring.
Yeah,
oh
show it
God.
off.
Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna try to zoom that baby in.
Wow.
Oh
That's
my gosh, it's gorgeous. Is it a
beautiful.
sapphire?
It is.
Okay, ready?
So pretty.
Thank you.
Oh,
Yes,
beautiful. Look
I
at
love that.
that
See,
fruit.
sapphires.
Yay!
Are you a September baby?
I'm not actually. I'm a December baby, but I just,
I'm September, but I just love them always. I
yeah,
always
right?
wanted a 3-stone ring with sapphires. That's what I always wanted when I was a little girl and dreamed it. And I had to wait till I was, I don't know, 2 years ago before I ever got one.
How cool. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm just drawn to the color. I don't know
It's
what it
so
is about
pretty.
it. It's gorgeous.
It is. I agree.
Yeah.
did you pick yours out, Donna?
No, I did not.
Oh
He did.
my
Wow,
gosh,
good
that's
job.
I
amazing.
know, right? He did so good with it. I always compliment him. I'm like, you did a great
It's
job.
great.
It was like it's just my style. It's got that little vintage like feel to it, and
Yep.
just and it's got my stone. So I'm like, yay!
It is very you. It's like unique and like oh what's the word I'm looking for? Polished. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
there's something to it. Like you said,
It's
like
very classic.
yeah,
It's like a
classic. That's what I'm
classic
looking
look.
for. It's
Right.
There it
classic.
is.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, and they're saying that Allie's saying that's just like you, classic, polished.
Well, I don't know her very well,
With
obviously.
it with a twist. With a
With a
twist.
little twist, right?
Yeah.
You know, you have to add
Oh,
the dark and twisty humor that I have in
that's
there.
right.
Of course you do.
Well, so we are live on Facebook too. So some people may be watching from there.
Okay.
And so what we can do is I'll let you get started. I'll mute us. And then if people keep rolling in as we're going, I'll just keep letting them in. Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
So we're ready to get going. Okay. So thanks so much for joining us for this program on Petals Please. I'm not sure how aware everyone is of the program. So what I'm going to do first is discuss a little bit about the power of flowers and what it means to the population that we all serve. There's some wonderful health benefits, physical, psychological, emotional, of flowers. And then I'll go into our organization, Petals Please, and discuss how we can help you to help your residents or your clients. So feel free, if you have any questions. This is my first time doing a Zoom presentation, so I'm going to try and not mess it up. So by way of introduction, I'm Beth Adams. If you don't know me, I have been in the senior care community for quite a while. I worked in pharmaceuticals for 28 years. Then I went into hospice, and I spent about 10 years working in hospice. I retired about 2 years ago, and shortly after retiring, I felt like I needed to do something, and I founded Petals Please as a nonprofit organization. So that's who I am. I know many of you. I've seen you at meetings. I've interacted, and I'm just so glad to touch base again. So we'll get started. As you probably know, about 60% of elders living in nursing homes do not have regular visitors, and they're referred to often as elder orphans, which I think is one of the saddest, really saddest descriptions I can think of, an elder orphan. But an elder orphan is defined as someone who has no adult children, spouse, or companion to rely on for company, assistance, or input. So you know those residents that are out there that really don't have anybody coming to see them on a regular basis. And approximately 30% of the elder orphans, about 13.3 million in the United States, of non-institutionalized elders live alone, and the majority are women. Okay, how come my slide is not advancing? Allie?
That's got to be something on your end if you're still screen sharing. Is it advancing on your screen, just not on the slideshow?
Yes. No, it's not advancing on my screen either. And I am screen sharing, so.
Yeah. Do you want to try exiting out of it maybe again and pulling it back up?
Stop share. Okay. I don't know. I don't know.
Is it a PowerPoint?
It is.
You can try
Okay.
that. Oh, there you go.
There we go. Okay, so currently at this time, it's even more challenging for all of us because the effects of COVID-19 on our elders. They're more likely to have dire outcomes if infected. We know that there are very high rates of morbidity and mortality. And there's that issue about ageism. Well, older people are going to die anyway. And, I listened to a podcast of a gentleman who was an international correspondent who's in his late 70s. And he said he has asthma and about 30% lung capacity. So he knows that if he gets infected, he's going to die. But his point was that to look forward, thinking that they may be isolated and limited in the amount of people that they can see is so heart-wrenching for them. And I think, we're seeing that. And there is that attitude with some of the younger people at this way. And that's so sad when you think about it. If you're 80 years old, you could live to be 100. You might have 20 more years. And if we asked you, were the first 20 years of your life important? You'd probably respond they were very important. They kind of formed who I am, gave me a basis for my personality, got me started in my career. So why do we say that the last 20 years maybe aren't equally important? Who knows what that individual might accomplish in those 20 years? So I think that's a tough thing for them to deal with. And then one of the biggest things is that our elders are lonely. Would you guys all agree that you're seeing that in those that you're caring for, that you're interacting with? This social isolation has been really, really difficult for our elders. Not everyone has access to or ability to use technology. Oftentimes family members are unable to visit. The communal activities that they rely on in communities are canceled, and they have that overwhelming fear of infecting or becoming infected. And they're uncertain if their lives will ever return to normal. I do work one day a week at Simpson Meadows, and through this pandemic, what I've done is I've made phone calls to the residents on a regular basis, just asking how they're doing, touching base with them, seeing if they need anything. And it's amazing to me how they're very stoic, not feeling sorry for themselves, but also very lonely. I mean, they're just dying to be able to hug a loved one or to see a loved one closer than the parking lot of the community that they live in. So it's been a really tough time. So what can we do? Everybody's looking, how can we make this better? What can we do? And one of the things that you can do is you can become involved with flowers. There's a lot of power, positive power in flowers. So there have been studies that have linked flowers to emotional health. Flowers can be a natural moderator of moods. They have a very strong positive effect on emotional health. There was a study that was done at Rutgers, and it was a 6-month study conducted at Rutgers. And what they found was, in the presence of flowers, that the elderly found that their depression was eased. Participants showed a sign of increased happiness, and they also became more socially interactive when they had flowers in their presence. They re-engaged with other members of the community. And it refreshed and enriched recent memory. And God knows we could all benefit from having our memories refreshed. But they actually studied this at Rutgers, and they found that when flowers were present, memory increased. So that's another really positive benefit. The University of Pittsburgh Medical Center also conducted a study, and they found that flowers have an immediate impact on happiness. So think about your own life and think about when you've been gifted flowers. I mean, how does it make you feel? It can be a grocery store bouquet. It can be gardens from a flower. It can be a child who picks daisies for you. And what does it do for you? I mean, it's so uplifting. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, think of the first time somebody gave you flowers. I mean, I can still remember it. And it's just a wonderful, immediate reaction. And all study participants in every age group that they looked at expressed excitement when receiving flowers. The reactions included things like surprise, genuine happiness, and really gratitude that somebody would think enough of them to give them some flowers. So simple, right? So there's some very long-term positive effects on mood. This Pittsburgh study also showed that after receiving flowers, the participants reported feeling less depressed, less anxious, less agitated, greater sense of life satisfaction. And flowers create an intimate connection. When you think about it, when somebody gives you a flower, I mean, you feel immediately connected with them. I mean, whether it's to say, I love you, it's to say, I care, it's to say, I'm thinking of you, it's to say, I'm sorry, you've got that immediate connection. So all good things. What they did was they also looked at a high response to other types of gifting. So a lot of times in nursing homes or senior care communities, you'll see your residents receive things like fruit baskets or boxes of candy or candles. And they found that the highest response in terms of the positive impact was with flowers. So forget the candy, go for the flowers. So this is an elevator. So when you get into an elevator, what do you typically do? If you're like most people, you stand there face forward, don't talk to anybody, try not to touch anybody. You just stand there waiting for your floor to be reached so that you can get off. So there was an elevator experiment that was done, and it was both men and women that were on the elevator. And what they found was that the most common social behavior in an elevator is distance. You want to stay as far away from everybody as you possibly can. Please don't touch me and don't talk to me. What they did was the design of the study was to offer a single flower to each occupant on the elevator. And what they found was that their demeanor changed immediately. Individuals on the elevator moved closer to one another and to the presenter of the flower, and they just had a much more positive interaction on the elevator. They repeated this same experiment using promotional pens. So they handed everybody a pen and they didn't have any kind of significant response. Everybody stuck the pen in their pocket and that was it. So the conclusion of this study was that there's something about flowers that draws people closer together. And I think you'd all agree about that if you think about your own experiences with flowers. So they're more than just beautiful and aromatic. There's some significant health benefits. Hospitalized patients with fresh flowers in their room needed less pain medication, had lower blood pressure, were less anxious and tired than patients without flowers at their bedside. So there's a reason that we send flowers to those in the hospital or in rehab or in skilled nursing, because it does have a really positive benefit. I won't go through all of these, but the flowers have bouquet of benefits. So think about something like lavender, for example. Every Sunday I go to a lavender farm and do yoga in the middle of the lavender fields. And you're lying there and you're smelling this incredible scent of lavender. And it just promotes relaxation. You know, a lot of people use lavender scented candles before they sleep. You know, viola is an anti-inflammatory. So I can make this available to anybody who would like it, but there are really true medicinal effects to flowers. And this is something that was presented through the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center. So it has the medical community behind it. So I won't go through all of them, but know that various flowers can do various things. A rose is an anti-inflammatory. I didn't know that. And it can also be used to treat coughs. So explore and think about it. There are also color characteristics to flowers. So, you know, red, we send red roses for Valentine's Day. We think about red with love and romance, but it also has a positive impact on the immune system. It's an energizing color. It's good for those who suffer fatigue or exhaustion. Violet has a calming effect and it's uplifting and encouraging. I mean, I never think about this when I send flowers. I just send flowers, you know. I never say to them, hey, I'd really like a little bit of yellow in there because my mother's down in the dumps and I'd really like her to have that happy and radiant feeling that can come from yellow flowers. Orange conveys optimism and encourages socialization. Blue, dependable and trustworthy. Blue invokes feelings that are calm, cool, and sedate. So, you know, somebody who's agitated, to have some beautiful blue hydrangea in their room might be really just what they need. Green, you know, is associated with tranquility. Pink, joy. You know, I think we think of, you know, pink for weddings and babies, but the soft pink hues convey a sense of sweetness and romance. And white, you know, white is good for everything. It's an openness, it's a purity and perfection. So the colors really do make a difference. So think about that when you're going to send flowers or you're going to gift flowers. So, you know, in summary, basically you can see there are some really significant health benefits to flowers. They're long lasting, they're, you know, emotional, they're physical. I think that we think oftentimes, I know I do, like when I'm feeling down or lonely, I think I want a box of chocolate or a bowl of ice cream. But I think the next time I'm feeling blue that I'm going to skip the comfort food and I'm going to try treating myself to a bouquet of flowers. That's a good thing to do, right? So I don't know if you can see this or not, but I got myself a big bouquet of flowers here. So I'm going to go into a little bit about Petals Please now. So we know that there's a benefit to flowers. So how can we tap into that? When I was at Willow Tree Hospice, I went to the Kennett florist and I went to Greco Funeral Homes, and I said to them, if you ever have any extra flowers that you're going to get rid of, could you give them to us at Willow Tree? And then myself and Betsy Beeler, who was the activities director, we'd just clip them, put them in vases or jars, mason jars, and we'd send them out with the nurses or the aides. And the feedback we got was incredible. You know, they just, oh, you know, not just the patients, but the families really appreciated having these flowers. So I retired 2 years ago in the spring, and I thought, you know what, I can do this on a larger basis. I can do this. And so I knew all of the communities from my work in hospice. I knew many of the funeral homes. I knew some of the florists, and I started Petals Please. So I chose the name Petals Please because I wanted to choose Forget Me Not, but it was already taken. So I took Petals Please because I think it has two meanings. Flowers are very pleasing, but we also need donated flowers. So I'm asking for petals, please. Please give us your petals. So the mission of Petals Please is to bring joy to our elders and infirm through the beauty of repurposed flowers. We pair the delivery of the flowers with a friendly visit whenever possible. Really, in many ways, the flower bouquet is the avenue for the visit. We really want the visit and the interaction if we can do that. And the flowers bring positive benefits to the recipients. The visit makes them even better. So whenever we can, when we profile the communities that we serve, we ask, can we send a volunteer in for a friendly visit? And hopefully, obviously not in this time can we do that, but in other times we can, and it's really very positive. So basically what we do is rescue flowers. So if you think about it, have you ever been to a funeral and you see these enormous arrangements that are gorgeous? Typically what happens with those arrangements is that as soon as the service is over, they're in the dumpster at the back of the funeral home, and they still have a lot of life left in them. So what we do is we rescue the flowers, we take them to our workshop, we take them apart, we deconstruct them, we rearrange them into small bouquets, and then we gift them to residents of senior care communities, nursing homes, hospices, Meals on Wheels. We're not limited in where we go with them, but primarily we're taking them to seniors in senior care communities. We go to the senior centers as well. We do a lot. We do even more than that, and I'll share that with you later. So this is what we receive. I mean, these are the types of flowers that come into us, and they've got lots of life left in them. And how heartbreaking it would be if you saw those in a dumpster or even at a graveside. A lot of cemeteries will not allow flowers to be left at the graveside anymore because, you know, there's waste. There's Oasis, the green stuff that you stick the flowers in. There's the containers. There's all that stuff. So they don't want them left there. But I've been by cemeteries where you see mounds of dead flowers, and it just breaks my heart, really. So we gift them to those who appreciate the gesture. Donna, you'll recognize this wonderful person, Michelle, handing a bouquet to somebody. I think that was at Jenner's Pond, actually. You cannot even imagine the response that we get when we're gifting these to those who appreciate it. So we are, Petals Please is an all volunteer nonprofit 501c3. So we consider ourselves to be a green recycling organization, and we're located right here in Chester County. We were given space at the Downingtown United Methodist Church. This is our workroom, and they've been wonderful to us. So it has really given us the opportunity to come together and to produce a lot of product for the people in the county. We don't limit ourselves to Chester County. We will go into Delaware County. We go into Lancaster County, but we don't travel too far because we're really pretty busy. Currently, we're servicing about 75 different organizations with flowers. So it's not that there aren't some out there that we could bring into the fold, but right now, you know, we go pretty far. So we started, as I said, I started actually, it was July of 2018. So we're coming up on our second anniversary. And on the left-hand side, you see my backyard. So we get a donation and we'd scamper. My husband and I would be dragging tables out and buckets of water and vases. And oh my gosh, you can't even imagine how how we, and then we'd be chasing the shade and and avoiding the bumblebees, and we'd be surprised by thunder showers, but people would just show up. I'd put the message out, we have flowers, and people would come and put them together. And you can see on the right, here's just some of the bouquets that were ready to go out. The very first donation we got was about 25 funeral baskets from Greco Funeral Home in Kennett Square. I sent a volunteer to pick them up. She's a petite woman with an SUV. And when she drove into my driveway, you couldn't even see her head. She was covered with 25 huge arrangements of flowers. So it was the middle of July. We took them all and put them in my air-conditioned house. And I looked around and said, oh my God, there's not a space in the living room and dining room. It's all flowers. We went to bed that evening and my husband woke me up during the middle of the night and he said, hey, babe, I can't breathe. He's like, my eyes are swollen, my lips are swollen, I can't breathe. Well, my husband's allergic to flowers. So being the kind, caring individual that I am, I said, oh, just take a Zyrtec and be quiet. What am I going to do? I'm stuck with these flowers. I have no place to put them. Get over it. But anyway, we knew that we had to find a place. So this was my garage with all the stuff as it came in, the boxes and the crates. And the one on the right was one day when we had just finished doing flowers and a big thunderstorm came and we were frantically moving. So as I mentioned, you know, flowers come in like on the left, we get these huge arrangements and then we make individual bouquets. If you remember, like 2 years ago, Bellingham had that tragic incident where there was a murder and everybody was rocked by it, were devastated. Well, it just happened that we had a lot of flowers. So the morning after that had transpired, this is what the residents of Bellingham woke up to. We had covered the entire foyer with teacup arrangements of flowers to uplift them and to let them know that people in the community cared. We knew that they were suffering and in pain, and we wanted to do something to make a difference. I saved a number of the phone calls and notes that I got from Bellingham residents just saying how much they appreciated it and what a difference it made in a dark and gloomy time to have these beautiful flowers. We recycle everything. So when we get arrangements that come into baskets or they're in big vases or whatever, if we can't use the vase, we don't use large vases. We really use things the size of like pint-sized mason jars, anything that would fit on a bedside table. But the baskets, we donate most of these baskets to a fire company that does a big fundraiser in the summer with baskets. All of our clippings we take to the chicken farm, the Center for Chickens in Malvern, and they use them for composting. So we take our clippings there. This is the Chicken Center for Chickens. I have to say, though, recently their most gorgeous chickens, the wonderful place, some weasels got the chickens. So they're just rebuilding. But again, just showing you that we, work with other partners in the community to try and be as green as we possibly can. These were some of the chickens. Look at these chickens. Are they gorgeous? That breaks my heart. But on the left is Amelia Wandrash, who's a student. She'll be a sophomore now at Episcopal Academy. And she had attended her grandmother's funeral in New Jersey, and her mother said she was distraught after the funeral because she said, look at these gorgeous flowers that are just being thrown away. So she found us and she wanted to volunteer. She arranges, she delivers, she visits, but she also is very environmentally conscious and she wanted to take over the chicken part of it. So she arranges to take all the clippings to the farm. She gets out there with her boots and her pitchfork and she does what she has to do to compost. So there's a lot to us. So one of the things we're most proud of is that we're an intergenerational organization. So a lot of times mothers will like to take their children. Sometimes grandparents aren't in the area. They don't have a lot of exposure or interaction with the elderly, and they really want them to be with the elders and to see see seniors and to be comfortable with them. So these are two little sisters who will fill our wagon with flowers, and they'll take it through the hallways of different senior care communities and deliver the flowers. And you can see, I mean, how lovely is that? This was at Easter, and we did Easter baskets, and here's a resident who's receiving her little Easter gift. We also partner with Meals on Wheels, which is a wonderful opportunity. You know, recipients of Meals on Wheels are homebound. Many of them never get out, and many of them at one time in their life had gardens and love to do gardening, and they're not going to go out and buy flowers. So once a month, we try to send fresh flowers out to recipients on Meals on Wheels out of the Chester County Food Bank and out of Chester County Hospital. So there are runs going out all over the place, but these are the two groups that we're most involved with. So they love it. I mean, they're just so happy to receive the flowers. We do things like with Girl Scouts. We had Girl Scouts come in, and the Girl Scouts all made arrangements, and then they gifted them to seniors. So that not only did they get the experience of making the arrangements, but also gifting them. We've involved students. These are students with intellectual challenges out of the Downingtown School District who we brought into our workroom, and they created arrangements for their mothers for Mother's Day, and it was wonderful. And then we opened up our workroom as a work experience for one of the students. So we had George who would come in every week for a couple hours and do some prep work for us. He did a lot of things, and it was a great experience for George. So we try to involve as many people in the community as we can, and it's worked out really well. We have a program that's called a Cup of Kindness Project, and this is probably one of my favorite things about our organization. What we do is we go into schools and we talk to the kids about what it means to be kind. We ask them if they've ever been the recipient of an act of kindness and how that made them feel. And then we also ask them if they've ever enacted an act of kindness and how that made them feel. Then we ask them if they know who they're going to gift their bouquet to, and if they want to share why they feel this person would welcome a bouquet from them. And oh my gosh, it's heart-wrenching in some cases. One little boy said, "My dad just lost his job, and I know he'd love to have the flowers." And a girl said, "My piano teacher's daughter just was diagnosed with cancer, and my piano teacher's so sad." It's amazing the depth of feeling for these kids, and to know that some simple little gesture like handing somebody a bouquet of flowers can make them feel so much better. So we love doing that project. It's a little bit challenging because we are dependent on donated flowers, so we never know when we're going to have flowers. So schools need to schedule these things. So this is one of the areas that we will go out and buy flowers. We work with local florists and go to Produce Junction or whatever. So some of the funds that we do raise will go towards the Cup of Kindness project so that we can schedule it in the schools and do it. So that was at St. Pat's in Malvern. This was a little girl, McKenna Massey, who died of cancer 2 years ago in September. And one of her wishes was that she wanted random acts of kindness to be done in her memory. And she had this little card printed out, and you can see her picture on the front and then the script on the back. So we partnered with her family's organization. She loved the color purple. And oh my gosh, they said that there were like 500 people at her funeral service. So you can see we got a lot of purple flowers, and they were so beautiful. And what we did was then we created the bouquets. They were gifted, and we included McKenna's card with them, and then delivered them to seniors in the area, and encouraged them then to do their own random acts of kindness. So that was the first September that we were in production. And then last September on McKenna's birthday, we did the same thing. We did purple flowers and cards of kindness, and we'll do it again this year. This was McKenna and her dog, and just, she touched all of our hearts. It was really very impactful. It's very difficult when the flowers come from young people. We also get donations from brides. So this was a bride who got married at the Downingtown Country Club, I think, and then she donated her flowers, and you can see them in the back of my car as we were taking them over to the workroom. And what we do is we give the brides a card that's framed on the left. It says, "Our first charitable act as a couple is a donation of our flowers. Individual bouquets will be created and gifted to elders in nursing homes, hospices, and other care communities. The joy we have experienced today lives on in the joy of others." So it's a really nice thing. Many of them put it on the tables, or they put it on the table where the seating chart is, so that guests know that the flowers are going to live on in the joy of others. It's a challenge, however. The weddings are difficult because most of the wedding venues want the flowers picked up at the end of the event. So like midnight, we're hiking out there to get the flowers. We've gone out at midnight and found that the groom got drunk and gave all the flowers away. We have gone into the garbage can with cake on top of them because nobody told the staff. I mean, so we're getting smarter. Some of the florists we work with will take the flowers and they'll hold them for us until the next morning. But it's it's a challenge. But this is what went out from those flowers. So these bud vases, we were able to make so many of them, and then they went out to residents. We were gifting flowers at Brinton Manor one time, and one of the teenagers that was with me, she handed a bouquet to a resident, and the woman burst into tears. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, oh no." And when she finally was able to talk, she said, no, it's not a bad thing. She said, "These are just like the flowers I had at my wedding." And she said, "It just brought me so much joy to see them." So, it's just all good. It's all good. Look at this. I love this. You can see her hand at the top. Just the hand that has lived so much time and had so many experiences, and then touching the beauty of flowers. We walked into a room one time, and the resident was blind. And as soon as we walked through the door, she said, "I smell flowers." And I said, "Yes, I have some beautiful flowers here." And she said, "Bring them close." And I brought them over to her, and with her hand, she just touched the flowers, and she said, "Oh, there's a rose. What color is it? There's a daisy, what does it look like?" So, it just gives me chills. I mean, it's so rewarding. As I mentioned, we are a 501c3, so we're totally dependent on donations. We've done 2 fundraisers. One, we call them Flowers After Hours, where we have a local florist who donates her time, and she, on the right is the prototype of the arrangement that the guests were creating. And then, people came, she gave instruction. It was wonderful. She went table to table and guided people on scale and color and things like that. And we had fun. We had a great time. We did one at Christmas time too, where we did a Christmas centerpiece, which was beautiful. So we've gotten funds from different areas. We've had some garden clubs who've given us donations. The Chester County Foundation gave us a donation. We got individual donations. So we have a very reasonable operating budget because almost everything is donated, but we do pay for utilities at the church. We do pay, we have flowers, we have to get preservative, we have to get, just the typical supplies that you need to keep things going. We have to have liability insurance. We pay for a website, phone, things like that. So people are always asking, what do you need? And what we need are the containers. We use teacups, mugs. We like the small mason jar type vases. We get a lot of like applesauce and peanut butter jars, things like that. Our volunteers are so creative. They take napkins and decoupage them onto the containers, and they are just adorable. I should update this and include that so you can see it. We now, over COVID, somebody discovered that soup cans are a great thing to do. Some of our communities that we serve will not take glass. They only want plastic. And so the soup cans will work for that, though. They'll take the cans. We'll put pebbles in the bottom to weight them, and then we put the arrangements in. So what's in the center is, if you've been drinking a lot over the last 3 months and had your wine delivered, that's the inserts for wine that come standing up. And we love those because then we put our containers in there into the crates. They're held firmly, and everybody can deliver easily with them. So we're always looking for those. If you're a wine drinker or know of a wine drinker, keep us in mind. So this is why we do what we do. And you can see just the handing, the hands. I mean, the hands just say so much. They really do. We have all sorts of children that have been involved. This gentleman in the center lives at Marist Grove. He loves gardening and misses his garden terribly and was beside himself with joy. You've seen the picture on the right, little girl handing over a bouquet. We do post a lot of pictures on our Facebook page, but if there's a resident, we always get permission before we post anybody's picture. So, we're never doing anything that we shouldn't be able to do. So I think the left, you can see a mom showing her little girl how to hand a bouquet to a resident. And this was on the right was the dining room at Harrison House, I think in Coatesville. And, I think, if you look at the woman on the left and you think how lonely and isolated some of our elders can be, just sitting, waiting for somebody to come and visit, waiting for something to do. And then you look at the right and you see these two little darlings with their wagon filled with flowers. Can you imagine how nice it is for her when somebody knocks on her door and says, would you like some flowers? I must tell you, I always warn the mothers. I said, be prepared. They're going to get year-old Halloween candy. They're going to get some kind of Christmas something that they had hidden in their room somewhere, because the residents want to give the kids something. They're always like, how much do I owe you? Or let me get you some candy. So it's kind of funny, but we don't charge anything to anybody for this. We don't limit ourselves to nursing homes either. Like when there was the synagogue shootings in Pittsburgh, what we did was we created beautiful bouquets and delivered them to all of the synagogues in the area. We did that with the mosque. If there's something that we feel that flowers would help, we're open to it. So we're not limited to the seniors. So we've done 8,000 bouquets in the last, it's been almost 2 years. So 8,000, and we probably would have been to 10,000 if we didn't have COVID, but we were on hold because nobody was accepting flowers. There were no weddings, there were no funerals, we had no flowers. What we did do, and we started to do as communities are opening up to receive flowers, we on Tuesdays accept clippings from local gardeners. So all these people who worked on their yards throughout COVID have some beautiful fruits of their labor, and they bring the clippings and they bring them to the church. And we've had some incredible bouquets made from local gardeners' flowers. This on the left is actually our first anniversary party that we had, and that's a cake on the left. That is cupcakes that are put into the design of flowers. I love that. And I love the picture on the right too. I think that was at Brinton Manor. And this is probably my all-time favorite picture. I love this. I just love that, this resident she's looking at this darling little girl putting the flowers on her table. And I'm sure that it really made for a wonderful day for her. So that's what we basically do. There's the cake. And that's our organization. So tell me if you have any questions or you have any thoughts or what I can do to encourage you to use us if you're not.
That was so good. There was so much there that I didn't know you guys did. And I think I cried like 3 or 4 times.
Me too.
Yeah, right.
Your organization is so much more than I think people understand. I mean, the reach of it and the, like you said, it's like a way for a visit to happen too. Mm-hmm. So I have to ask you, what's your favorite flower?
My favorite flower is an iris. I love iris. I've always loved them. My father, we had a huge circular iris garden in our home growing up. And my parents and none of us really knew anything about gardening. It was there when they bought the house. And for years, my father tried to destroy the iris plot because he wanted more space for us to run around the yard. Little did he know that they were bulbs, and every time he cut them and burned them or did whatever he did to them, they just kept on growing. So anyway, but that's my favorite flower. I love the iris. What else? Any other questions?
So should we all like your Facebook page so that we can share it on ours?
Yeah, what can we do to help other than, I know the donations and things, that's really good that we know now. And then, you know, how can we spread the word for you?
Right.
Well, one thing, I hate to say this, but one thing we don't need is really any more volunteers. I mean, I don't want to really say that, but like we
don't want to volunteer.
Yeah, we have like 150 volunteers. I mean, everybody, you know, so many people want to arrange flowers, you know, and there's so much more to this than the arranging. I think what I would really like, maybe we can repeat this sometime, because after you know, I was just thinking, oh, I should have reached out to all of the activities people in the communities that we serve, because they don't know all of this about. They just know they're receiving the flowers. They don't necessarily know the benefit of them or the history of them, or, you know, why we do what we do. So, I mean, I just think they would be the people that kind of spearhead it in their communities, you know, so they should really know about it. Actually, exciting news is that the Philadelphia Inquirer has just asked us if they could do a feature article on us for the Upside, that section of the Inquirer that does positive news. Yeah. So I think that's going to be, you know, a pretty big boost to us, you know. Like, you know, spreading the word about, we really prefer the funeral donations. I mean, that's just like, as the weddings, as I said, are complicated. I mean, we want them, but like sometimes we get wedding donations and the stems are cut so short that we can't really use a lot of the flowers. You know, there's just a lot that goes into that. People don't always know that this is an option for them. I mean, we work a lot with like James Terry Funeral Home. We work a lot with the Donahue Funeral Homes, Longwood, Greco's no longer Cuso, I guess it is now. There's a couple that we work a lot with, you know, and now they've become more proactive. And when they're doing funeral planning, they'll say, have you given any thought to what you'd like to do with the flowers after the service is over? And then people are like, no, I really didn't think anything about, I didn't know what I was going to do with them. And they give us as an option, you know, and that really helps because it's planned and we know we know that they've made the decision to donate the flowers to us. So that helps. So yeah, liking us on our Facebook page, sharing things about us, you know, we post some wonderful pictures. We've got some great things. That would be the most helpful. And then, you know, I think thinking about others in the senior care community who would benefit from this information. And, you know, if they contact me or I can contact them, you know, I go into communities and do presentations. So a lot of places have asked, like, can't you just give us the flowers? Say, can't you bring the flowers to Bellingham and our residents will do this as an activity? Well, we can't do that because we don't know when we're going to get flowers. And plus, that's not what we do, you know, right. But I will go in and give a presentation similar to this one to residents of senior care communities. And if we have flowers, we will bring flowers. And then after the presentation is over, for any of the individuals that are there who want to put together an arrangement, we bring in our volunteers and we'll pair them up with the seniors, and then they make the arrangements. So it's a nice activity. It's a nice program. It's different than a lot of the other things that are brought to the communities, you know, so that's something else you can do. You can let people know that if that's something they'd like, they can arrange it with us and we'll come in and do that for them.
That's great.
It's great.
It's fun.
And we've been live on Facebook now too. So it's not just the four of us that have been watching your presentation. This video, after we're done, will stay on Facebook that we can share. Anybody watching can share too, so that, you know, we can get the word out that way too.
Sure. That would be wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We do. Oh, you're so welcome, and thanks for listening.
I learned so much. I'm gonna go and get flowers today to put in my house.
I just got flowers last night because I was in a blah mood last night. So I just got flowers last night, and it really does. I don't care if they're from Trader Joe's; they're beautiful.
Trader Joe's has lovely ones.
I know. I just don't know how to arrange them. So I have like these beautiful flowers, and I just didn't do such a great job, but I'll redo it.
Now, Mindy, is there a way that you would like to have flowers, recipient of flowers at Surrey Services?
Well, I'm thinking yes, but I am so low woman on the totem pole that I have passed your information as soon as I met you on this the first time. And they all said, oh, that's a lovely idea. That's what I got. But we'll see.
So you have people that are coming into your center, right?
But not right now.
No, not now, right? But like the senior centers, for example, like Westchester Senior Center and Coatesville Senior Center, Downingtown Senior Center, we deliver flowers to their clients all the time. So we'll just bring in, like if I have 20 arrangements or something, we'll bring them, we just set them on a table, and then their clients who come for whatever program or whatever, take them home. Yeah.
And we're the mainline Wheels on Meals people. So we do that. We're the Delaware County Meals on Wheels and home delivered meals people out of media. So there's a lot of ways that we could use it. I just, I bring my information that I gather to the powers that be, and then nothing happens.
I know what that's like. But listen, the other thing is, go on our Facebook page and scroll around till you find the tissue flowers. So we have one volunteer who she was a florist and she's retired. So when this happened and everybody was really reluctant to, bringing in things into their communities and not knowing how the virus was transmitted and, could it be on flowers or whatever, Tina created these incredible tissue flowers. And so like the Meals on Wheels volunteers, some of them are older too, and it's hard for them. They're carrying the meal. They didn't want to carry a vase with water in it and slosh it around or whatever. So we did bud vases of tissue flowers, and
that's nice.
Them. Oh my God, they love them. They were great. So
and they don't die.
I love the whole thing. I love the whole, I'm ready to give you some bud vases because I have a million of them in the house, and small little round ones.
Yeah.
Listen, you might get some containers.
Listen, I can tell you this, with everybody cleaning their houses through the COVID.
Oh, you have them.
Oh my God. Everybody's like, I've got vases. And we don't have a lot.
Next winter when you're in trouble.
Yeah. We don't have a lot of storage room. So we have to be kind of careful, but
I'll hold them till then.
Hold them, please.
I will.
We love them. So, well, this was great. I really appreciate the opportunity. Good.
Thank you, and I'm running to my next meeting.
You're welcome. See everybody. Have a good day.
Right. Everybody have a good day.